Everything said on the Couplings Fire podcast are our opinions, and in no way represent the opinions and values of any agency we are associated with.
Hey, this is the Couplings Fire podcast.
Here's a couple of things you might need to know, or maybe you just forgot.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Taylor.
We're married.
And we're both firefighters.
Join us as we talk anything and everything fire related.
Based out of small town, rural Nebraska, we bring our unique challenges and solutions to the table every episode.
Our goal? To better the rural volunteer firefighting community, one person at a time.
Let's get on to the episode. Okay. Hello, everybody.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen?
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the entertainment of the evening with Chris and Taylor. So I was talking to my mom. This is a tangent. I was talking to my mom about a week or so ago, and she was telling me, I was like, Taylor, you have a really good voice. Like, you should be on like the radio or something. I'm like, well, you do know we're trying to start a podcast, right? But it is just super funny. I'm like, actually, I remember in high school I got told by somebody, by the person who ran the radio station in the town we grew up in, that's like, actually, I do have a good radio voice.
I think you do.
I don't know how, but okay.
You do. I don't know. You have good pronunciation and your voice carries and I don't know. You just do.
I have to move the computer closer to you to record these because I get picked up way better.
Exactly.
I also have the theater background in training, and you do not.
You're right. I relied on instruments to carry my voice.
The tuba.
Anyway.
So,
you can edit this out if you want, but
okay.
I guess we're dating how the podcasts come out because we just officially started this last week.
Yes.
Even though we have a handful of episodes recorded now.
Handful? This is like episode 12 or something, or farther. I don't even know what number this is going to be. This might be earlier. So we don't know what order these are coming out in.
Yeah. So we're kind of dating them, but nonetheless, we kind of just do them when we feel like talking fire. So our podcast has officially been out there for a week now.
Yeah. It's exciting.
It is exciting.
I was going to be happy if we only had like 2 listeners.
You're a liar. You would have been really disappointed.
I would have been a little disappointed, but I still would have been happy because it's a good outlet for us to be able to talk fire to each other and just honestly have a computer listening to us while we're recording this. And now what? I think we officially have like, I know this is like going to seem like nothing to everybody who has a podcast out there, but we have like 20 plays on our Get to Know Us podcast right now.
And it's exciting.
It's very exciting. We got people from across the country listening to us though, and it's crazy. And
we already had one person start messaging us and having conversations and
from Pennsylvania. I'm like, what? We're in Nebraska. Someone from Pennsylvania talking to us. What?
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's nuts.
Yeah, so this podcast might be moving earlier in our system or later. I don't really know.
Yeah, we're not sure how it's going to come out, but anywho, so we're actually doing this one for 2 reasons. One, because it was one of the questions that got asked to us, and 2, we actually had a kind of a brief conversation that we'll get into at the end of this podcast with one of our other officers just the other night when we were here. Yeah,
and it was such a good conversation. I wish we had been recording. We had the computer up here, but I didn't press record or anything. I wish I would have, because it was that good of a conversation.
It was a good conversation, and it was a good conversation because you could see how the conversation progressed from where we are to where maybe we should be.
Yeah.
Or maybe some solutions and stuff. It was really cool to see that conversation progress. So, but anyway, we'll touch on that at the end. With that, we will get into things.
Yeah.
What are we covering tonight, hon?
Tonight is all about trucks. I don't know. I don't have a better name for it, so.
All about our trucks.
All about our trucks.
Our fleet.
Our fleet that we have here. So we're going to get into we're going to get into basically what we have here in town for us, what we use, how our trucks are set up, and then kind of some considerations to take that we kind of started to realize of maybe some things that may need to change around on some of our trucks, and Just some things that we hadn't really thought about too much before.
Yeah. So, like I said, we had a listener from Virginia. Is that
Pennsylvania.
What you said? Pennsylvania.
It says it right there.
I'm sorry. I'm not a good reader. I was trying to go by memory. Pennsylvania. Brett. So Brett sent this in, and he's among many questions that he sent us, and we will get into his other questions too. But one of his questions that he gave us was just asking, what we had for fleet here and kind of how it was set up and what we got. So
yeah,
we're kind of going to go over that and kind of the reasonings behind things and equipment on trucks and stuff like that. So hopefully just a nice kind of relaxing setup, I guess. Anyway, I think we should probably start this stage with
words. Think of your words.
I think we should probably start this episode. Well, we've already started it. We should probably introduce this by kind of saying how our station's set up.
Okay.
So I guess I don't know how most volunteer stations are set up, but the ones that we tend to travel to have basically one row of trucks, and there's a door in front of each truck.
Yeah.
Some of them are kind of double stacked, but most of them are kind of set up that way. So you can listen to us or not listen to us. That's up to you guys how you're set up. But so our station has 4 bays in it, and we are a double stacked station.
Oh,
so
it's 5, but the 5th one's the ambulance. Sorry. I'm like, this is wrong. It's 5.
We have 4 for the fire trucks.
Yeah, sorry.
And 1 for the ambulance.
Sorry.
So we have 4 bays, and we are a double stacked station, meaning that we have one truck in front of another truck. So in order to get the truck in the rear out, we have to move the truck in the front. And we have 8
We have 8
apparatus.
trucks. Yep.
We have 8 apparatus.
And 1 ambulance taking up those 4 bays.
Yeah, so 8 trucks and 1 ambulance, yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. I understand what you're saying.
Because there is an ambulance over there.
Yeah.
So we have 8 total trucks. We have 5 rural trucks and 3 city trucks that we deal with.
Yes, we do. And like I said, our station is what I would call a double stack station, where we have 2 rows of trucks, which means we have to prioritize which trucks sit in front of the doors and which trucks sit in the second line.
Mm-hmm.
And we have tried many different ways to reorganize our station because it is pretty crowded having 8 trucks in here. And this is the setup that works the best for us.
Yeah.
We keep thinking about it, trying to rearrange, but right now we haven't come up with a better solution. So I'll draw you guys a little picture here. I'll try. So we got 4 bays. On the very west bay, we have our main city pumper, which sits by the overhead door, and then we have our backup city pumper, which sits right behind it. The next bay over, we have our rural pumper, and sitting right behind that is our rural tanker. The next bay over, we have one of our grass rigs, and then we have our ladder truck. Grass rig is rural, ladder truck is city. And then in the 4th bay, we have basically our rural ambulance sits in front there by the door, and then we have
a middle section.
Yeah, a middle, which would be sits 32, which is like our rescue,
almost grass rig,
and kind of grass rig mix. And then sitting behind that is another grass rig, and we have that set up because we also have a door on the other side over there that we can get the grass rig out, so it sits in front of an overhead as well.
Mm-hmm. So it goes out primarily to the north of the building instead of the south of the building where all the rest of the doors are.
Yep. Hopefully that kind of gets you a general outline of how the trucks are set up. We're set up this way because, like, in our first bay, say we have a city structure fire, so the first truck out is going to be our
main pumper,
which sits right by the door, and the next truck out is going to be our backup pumper, which has all our 5-inch and stuff like that on it. So those are going to be the first 2 trucks out. So if we go to a situation like that, it's going to be the primary truck, secondary truck. You don't have to move anything to get a truck out.
Yeah.
They're both going to be going. So the next scenario would be rural structure.
Yep.
So next bay over, we have our roll pumper right by the overhead door. So that's going to be the first truck to roll. Our second truck to roll is going to be our tanker, which sits
Right behind it.
directly behind it. So again, same situation. If we're going to that scenario, that truck's going to be gone already. The tanker can pull right out. We don't have to move any trucks.
Grass fire.
Grass fire. Next bay over, our grass rig sits right in front of, one of our grass rigs sits right in front of the overhead door. It can leave without moving any vehicles. And then our other grass rig, like we said, it's by a door that points out the other side of the station. It can go and leave without moving any of the trucks.
Yep, and then you do have to move the 26, which is our roll pumper in the second bay, to get the tanker out for a rural grass fire. But that's, you can't make everything perfect.
So we do have to move that vehicle to get our tanker out. Again, the way we're set up here, we can't do a whole lot about it. That's just kind of the way it is. But we have to move one vehicle. So after that,
car wreck?
our 32.
Yep.
Our combination grass rescue truck.
We do have to move
sits in the middle
Oh, sorry.
over on the fourth bay. So we do have to move an ambulance to get that truck out as well. So not the best setup, but that's the way that one works. So
I was gonna say for car wreck next. So
Car
for car wreck, our first truck out is our roll pumper, actually, that has most of our car wreck stuff, or some of our car wreck stuff on it. So we take that one out, and then 32, which is our grass rescue in Bay 4 that we just talked about, that's the second out for a car wreck.
So we have to move the ambulance to get that truck out.
And the reason why the ambulance is in front and not 32 is because, honestly, if there are two calls in town, two ambulance calls in town, they're going to be needing both ambulances. And honestly, when it comes to what we do in general, the ambulances, my opinion, is more important than the fire stuff, because that's life safety.
You're right. The other thing about it too is most of our EMTs don't feel comfortable driving our trucks.
Yeah, so we can move the ambulance out of the way very easily. The EMTs don't feel comfortable moving our trucks out of the way.
Yeah. So that was car wreck. So we got anything left?
Those are the 4 basic ones we go to.
Those are the 4 basic ones. So if we do have to get our ladder truck out, which is the third truck on a structure fire, we do have to move our grass rig in the third bay.
Third or fourth now. It might move to fourth since it doesn't have any air packs on it or anything, though.
That's true.
So the third truck might actually be 32, which is our grass rescue truck. That actually has our cascade system on it that we refill our air bottles with on scene. So our trucks are all sorts of set up in so many different ways.
Yep. So we tried to make the most of it. We still have to move vehicles to get other ones out.
But most of the time it's not too bad.
Our really pushing calls, our structure calls, we can get out right away, and our grass calls we can get out right away. So car X, we can get the first truck out right away. Second one we'd have to move, but we can get that first truck out right away and rolling. Grass fires, covered that. Yeah, so we try to at least make our primary unit available to go anytime we need it. So hopefully that paints you guys a decent picture of how our station's set up and why it's kind of set up that way right now. We'll get into the trucks now.
All right, so for trucks, like we said, we have 3 city trucks. So our first one is 134, and that's our mainline pumper. So we just acquired this one actually last March, right before everything went down with the coronavirus stuff in the U.S. So we got that from somewhere in Texas, and it's a new to us truck, and it's probably, I thought it was our newest one, and technically it's not, because I think one of our grass rigs is newer. So
yeah, one of our grass rigs is newer.
This truck is really nice for us.
Yeah, the department that had it did keep very good tabs on it, and actually one of their guys on their department was a diesel mechanic, and he took really good care of the truck, and if it needed it,
that's handy.
They had how do I want to say this? They were a very blessed department. They didn't have any really financial problems there. So whatever the truck needed, it got, and they took really good care of it. It's by far the favorite truck now in the station.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't think we have any other trucks that have that big open cab like that.
Yeah,
Like, it's so nice.
It's got the custom cab and everything. It's air conditioned and heated, and it's luxury to the max.
So that is a 2004 Pierce. It has a 1,500 gallons per minute pump. And we don't know exactly actually how much it holds on the tank. We think maybe it's 750 gallons.
I'm pretty sure it's 750, but all right. Our next city truck is gonna be truck 90. It is our backup city pumper. It is a 1990 Ford F800. It's got a 1,000 GPM pump on it, and it's got a 900 gallon tank on it now. It came with a 1,000 gallon tank, which was a steel tank. We had to go to the poly, so we're down to 900 on it now. But it was our frontline pumper until we got that truck, but
years
and years.
Since
and
I've been
years.
on, for sure, at least.
Oh yeah, way before we got on. Probably been our frontline pumper for 20 years.
Really?
Oh, probably at least. It was our mainline pumper forever, and that's what we learned to pump on and really get familiar with, because that was our main pumper. So.
And then the last city truck that we have is our Ladder 1, which is our 95-foot extension platform ladder. It is a 1989 Pierce. It has a 1,500 gallon per minute pump and 500 gallon tank.
Yep. So, our ladder truck used to be the pride of our fleet.
Yeah.
That was the biggest, baddest truck, and had the most bells and whistles on it, literally.
Mm-hmm.
So, between the air horn, the federal Q, and the sirens, it sounded about like 5 trucks rolling through town.
Yeah.
All right, so those are our 3 city trucks. Now, 134, which is that primary structure truck for the city. It's got our crosslays on it. It's got all our structure tools on it. Halligan's axes.
K12 saw.
K12, our positive pressure fan, ladders. Kind of the standard for structure fighting is what I would equate that to. I mean, there's nothing special on it.
All the good basics.
Yeah. So, a skid load. I was just up there the other day. I think it's got 750 feet of 5-inch on it. It's not set up for anything real special. It does have a bumper line on there, but overall it's set up for a structure fire. So I don't know if there's anything special about it. So.
No, I can think of.
So.
It's the first truck we've ever actually had tools inside the cab, though, because it's big enough for it.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
So I think it's something that people kind of forget when they have to grab a tool. They forget that they have a Halligan, and an axe and things right inside the cab. They're not used to that on our department.
Right. Our flashlight, I guess the tick was on the side compartment on 90. So our tick's in the cab. Our flashlights are in the cab. CO2 monitors. All that's in the cab now.
So you could potentially, depending on if you're the 2 people go inside, you could go straight from the cab to pulling the crosslay. Already have your tools and tick and everything you need, and do a 360 really easy right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Compared to what we used to be able to do. So.
Yep. So, like I said, nothing special on that truck. So then we moved from 134 to 90, which is our backup structure pumper. This is our second truck out because it does have a lot more 5-inch on it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times if we're going to a structure fire, we're relying on that second unit to bring us water, to bring the hydrant to us. So that's a big reason why it's our second one, and it's a second pumper on scene.
Yeah.
So, but we can sit at the house and 90 can come in and hit the hydrant and pull it straight to 134. So that's a big reason why it's our second truck. It is an open cab. The back of it is open, not the driver and passenger seat. But
I do know they're trying to get away from that, but right now that's what we have to work with. Mm-hmm. So it's what we got.
So the back of it is open. So if you're sitting in the back as
a firefighter,
we do have 2 air packs back there. You're getting ready in the wind. So. Mm-hmm.
Or the rain or the snow or whatever the heck you happen to be coming up against.
Right.
I know there was one call that somebody said that I wasn't on this one. They went through a big old little puddle, a dip, and the water came all the way up above the truck and hit them in the back. Completely soaked them all. Oh, that sucks.
I've gone to a few calls in the frickin' pouring rain and sitting in the back of that truck. It's not any fun, but put your helmet on, put your face mask down, and
squat.
Try not to get pelted with everything. So, it is a mid-mount pump, so you can the pump and the truck engine actually run separate. If you're not familiar with that, so basically the two firefighters in the back sit between the cab and the pump panel. So and it's got doors and stuff, so you can't fall out. But that's what that truck is. Again, it really doesn't have a whole lot of unique or different tools or anything like that on it. It just mainly hauls our 5-inch. Extra hose gives us another pumper on scene. So
yeah.
It is, like we said before, it's a 1990. It's still carbureted. It's pretty funny to watch the rookies try to start it. It's a manual transmission, so if our new guys don't know how to run a clutch, they get taught very quickly. And actually, we had a rookie come on right before we had the elevator fire over there, and thankfully he knew how to run a clutch, but if he didn't, he knew by the end of that. So
yeah.
One thing we failed to mention is we use 90 also as a tanker. Since it can hold 900 gallons, it does have a quick dump on the back.
Yeah. It kind of sucks to get to work it.
Yeah, it's not exactly convenient, but it does work as a tanker. And I think our rookie that drove that for our elevator fire that we had here in town, he said he put over 100 miles on the thing, so if he didn't know how to run a clutch very well, he knows how to now.
Yeah, and it's 100 miles of less than a mile or a mile back and forth.
Yeah, it might have been a mile between where we were dumping and the hydrant, so it is crazy. He was in there forever, and I guess he loved every bit of it, though. He was having a ball in that truck, so.
Well, and it was a safe place to put him.
Yeah, it was.
With not knowing anything about fire, well, he knew stuff from his dad, but otherwise not knowing anything about firefighting and not having the time yet to teach him too much. That was a good, safe job for him to do. They got him a lot of experience, and he loved it, apparently. It was great. We needed it done. He
wouldn't stop talking about that, how many miles he put on that freaking truck. It was super funny. Didn't you get bored sitting in there for that many hours? Oh, no, I was having a blast. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's 90. Like I said, there's nothing special on it. It's got the quick dump on there for tanking water and stuff, but other than that, again, it's kind of set up like a structure truck. It's got the cross lays on there and some tools and stuff like that for structure fighting, but nothing special. So
moving on, the ladder truck, it used to have more on it than it does now. We moved a lot of stuff to 134 from it. So 90, that used to be our mainline pumper, couldn't fit a lot of air packs on it. Well, 134 can. So we put all of the ones from the ladder onto 134 since that was going to be our main line. So we don't have any packs anymore on the ladder because it's going to be third or fourth truck out. Why does it matter at that point to have extra air packs on that one?
Right. And we have a ladder truck. I don't know the full reasoning behind it, but a lot of it was due to the elevators, and we do have a few 3-story buildings in town. And I wasn't here when they got it, so I don't know the whole reasoning, but I think it had to do with the ISO rating and stuff like that. But it is a very fun truck to run. It's a very long truck, so there's very few people that actually feel comfortable driving it, which is a challenge. We're constantly having to try to push people into that driver's seat and get people comfortable with it, because there's only a handful of us here that will drive it.
Yeah.
So that, again, it's nothing special. It's a structure truck. It has more tools on it, like our negative pressure fans.
Any adapter you could ever think of.
It's got some more rolls of 5-inch on it. Yeah, adapters galore on it.
High-rise packs. It's still got not crosslays. No, it's got the high-rise packs though on it.
Does it have a pre-connect on it? Yeah, I think we still got the 2.5 on there. 2.5 out to a Y.
Okay.
So we still have that on there. Pike poles, ladders. We have
think of all the ladders you need. We have everything. We have
4 or 5 ladders on that thing.
More than that. I think we have 6 or 8 on there.
I don't think we got that many.
There's 3 on each side at least, plus the attic ladder, plus roof ladder.
Well, the roof ladder's on one of the sides.
Okay, still. I think there's like 6 or 7 on there.
There might be 6.
Plus like 8 pike poles. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
There's only 6 pike poles.
No, there's more than that.
Whatever. I'm not even going with you. Not even worth it.
Not even worth it.
Anyway, it's got a lot more tools on it. It's turned into more of our 3rd truck out now. It used to be the 2nd truck out.
I think it might be a 4th truck now because depending on what we need, instead of bringing the ladder there, we might bring 32 for the air compressors.
For the Cascade.
Thank you. For the Cascade.
And it has more air packs on it.
Yes. So it really depends on what's happening, whether it's 32 or the ladder. And so I think if it's someone who's not comfortable driving the ladder, we're bringing 32.
Yeah.
And especially a lot of our single-story buildings, we're bringing 32 first.
Yeah.
Before the ladder.
Yeah. So our ladder doesn't get utilized like a show. It's way more of honestly a training. We use it way more in training and training for those possible scenarios, which
rather than
we
the
just
actuals.
Really don't do a good job at that either. But since I've been on the department, I think we've used it at 2 actual. No, that one was a training. So we used it on 1 actual fire, and really we just used it for the master stream on it. So
yeah,
it wasn't anything crazy. So
I mean, it's come to other fires, and it's brought people to plenty of other fires.
Yeah,
but actually being used, probably only once or twice.
Yeah, it's got a generator on it with scene lights. So
we've used that before.
If we need more light, we can definitely start the generator up and put more lights on the scene. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's a ladder truck. It's a structure truck. So
yeah.
It's what did I say? An 89, I think is what I said it was.
3rd one is the last one on
there. Yeah. So it's a 89 Pierce. So it's not like it's at the breaking edge of technology or anything like that. It's still got what they call the H outriggers on it, H-style outriggers on it.
It really limits where we can set it up at.
Yeah, we're limited to where we can set it up at, and it's
touchy.
Yeah, the truck's getting old, so it's getting touchy. But you got to train everyone on how to set that truck up because it takes at least 2 people to set it up.
Yeah.
Other than that, when we do go out and pull a hose off of it and use the pump on it, it's got a crazy pump on it. It'll pump whatever you want to. So, and with that truck, we have the ability to utilize the pump, but we can still, if we don't have enough water, we can actually pump water to the rear of the truck and go straight up through the aerial without using the actual truck engine or truck pump to pump the aerial. So if we're in a spot where we're very limited on the water, we can actually pull in another hydrant or pump off another truck to the rear of the truck to run the aerial. So that's
I think I remember hearing that in all of our practices.
I think they used that at the.
That was such a weird fire.
That was a weird fire. So,
and honestly, at that point, that was so long ago, and I was just a photographer at that point. I don't know a lot of what was happening at that fire, and I wish I did.
Yeah, so it's a structure truck. It does have its little perks about it and stuff like that, but it's got the tools and stuff set up for structure. Really, nothing else. So that's about all the calls it goes to anymore is structure fires. So, but
all the area mutual aid departments know we have it, so if they need it.
Yep.
But I think we've only ever gotten called for it once for it. So, all right. So I guess we're probably moving on to our rule trucks next, talking about those. So we have 5 trucks in our rule. So we got 27, which is our 2-man grass rig. That is a 1999 Ford F350 with a 300-gallon tank.
That truck.
Oh, do you want to talk about these like as we're going now?
Might as well.
And so? Okay.
So that truck, it's got the skid load on it for grass fighting, and we have 2 hand lines that run directly off the pump, and then we also have a plumb to a hose reel, so we can actually get off the truck with the hose reel
and take a look farther.
Go out. I think there's 2 hoses on there, so 100 foot.
Yeah.
We can go outside the truck and work actually off or outside the truck.
We have a lot of basic wildland firefighting gear or stuff on there. We have a couple shovels, some rakes, some pitchforks. We have hard suction hose to be able to draft out of lakes and stuff or out of drop tanks. Trying to think of some other stuff we have on that truck. That's a lot of what we have, honestly, on there. I don't know if it's this truck or another truck that we actually have the bumper.
That's 27.
That's 27?
Yep.
Okay.
We have 2 bumper nozzles up on the front that we got kind of customly plumbed in.
That's not what I was talking about. Okay, go.
So if that truck happens to leave here with just 2 people and there's no one on the back, they can still run the bumper nozzles and do some control with those. So.
Yeah. And then which one do we have the hitch attachment to for like rope stuff or like chain stuff?
I think that's 54.
54, okay.
Yep.
I was checking on that. So that's basically what we have on 27. It's pretty basic grass rig for grass fire.
Yeah, nothing crazy. It's not like the crazy big jacked up grass rigs that you see that have a lift kit.
It's just a regular pickup truck. Like,
yep. They're a regular 4x4 pickup truck, so nothing crazy. So.
Next we have 54, which is our 5-man grass rig. It is a 2012 Ford F-350, and it is a 300-gallon tank on that. And that was a little bit more set up than our 27, than our 2-man grass rig. So this one can hold 5 people, so it's got a front and a back. And then we have a lot more on it. So we still have the same hand tools and things on it, still have the same hose reel on it that we can utilize. But on top of that, we have our foam pack on it that we can use to actually hit stuff with foam, and then
that one actually has a foam tank on it too, so we can get foam out of the hoses as well.
I'm actually surprised you don't have the foam pack on 27 then if we have the foam tank on 54.
I know, right? Doesn't quite make sense, but
like, why would you want both on the same one?
I don't know.
So we'll get into this at the end of the podcast, some things that we think that not necessarily have to change, but some little nuggets of things we have been thinking about.
Yeah, some things that don't quite make sense.
And that's kind of one of those. It's like, why do we have the foam pack on 54 and no foam pack on 27 if 54 has the actual tank for foam? So wouldn't you want foam capabilities with both grass rigs in some way?
Yeah, you'd think so.
So I don't think the back is any bigger in 54, is it?
I don't think so.
So I don't know. It's just one of those weird things.
It is a weird thing. I never thought about that. So, yeah, we have the foam tank on there, or that Pro Pack on there. What else do we have?
Little fire extinguisher.
We have a hitch made for rope rescue style stuff, an anchor point, if you will, that we can throw in the receiver hitch.
Yeah, because a few years ago, a little more than a few years ago, we were doing this this rope rescue class with our state fire marshal here, and I think someone came up with that idea, so we ended up making it.
Yeah.
Is how that happened.
Yep.
It's like, well, we're going to have a grass rig on scene for a lot of these things that we might use it for. Let's say someone trapped in a ravine or something like that. Why not make something to hook onto the grass rig? Because the grass rig is pretty dang heavy. It's going to stay pretty stable. To use it as an anchor point, go ahead and use it.
Yep. So that's one of the unique things about that truck. Let's see here. Nothing
That's
too.
pretty it.
Yeah, I would say nothing too crazy on that truck. Log chains, stuff like that.
Same stuff as 27.
Yeah, nothing too crazy there. So, the next one though, we'll get into that.
So the next one we have is number 32, which is our grass rig / rescue truck. So it's not really like a pickup truck. It's not even close to a pickup truck. Go ahead.
So it's a 2001 International truck, and we got it from the Forestry Service, the Nebraska Forestry Service. Mm-hmm. It was on an Air Force base, and they used it to fight airplane fires. So we took the foam systems all out of it and everything like that, because that didn't come with the truck. So we don't have the foam set up for fighting that kind of fires. But the truck itself is actually, it's more tall than it is long. It's not your traditional fire truck per se. Per se. But it's a very tall truck. It's more what you'd see like a jacked up 4-wheel drive kind of deal, you know.
We've seen other volunteer departments in the area, though, with this type of truck, though. So I don't know how uncommon it actually is. Maybe it's more of a Nebraska thing. I don't know.
I don't know how uncommon it is. I don't know how to describe the truck. But anyway, it's 2001 International. It's got a 500 GPM pump on it, so not a huge pump by any means, and it's got a 500 gallon tank on it, so it's also not a huge tank. You can't fight a huge amount of fire with it.
Yeah, but it's got that bumper nozzle on it too, and so we're able to utilize it like a grass rig because it has the capabilities to pump and roll like our grass rigs do. So we utilize it a lot like a grass rig. It can't go into quite as many spots, but it's really great, and it has a hose reel in the back too that you can pull down and do a lot of the same stuff as you would with a grass rig.
Yep.
So and that's how we normally utilize that truck.
Yeah, our bumper nozzle on there is a remote bumper nozzle, so we can point it and change the shape and all that kind of stuff, all from the passenger seat, which is great because we can only put 2 people on it anyway. So we can utilize it great for ditch fires, and we've even been out in fields in it, and a lot of times it gets places it probably shouldn't go, but
yeah.
It does have 4-wheel drive. And everything on it, and it's a heavy truck though, so you got to watch where you're going with it. But so the tools on that truck,
very wide variety of what's on that truck.
yeah, and we call this our grass/rescue because of just the wide variety that's on it.
Mm-hmm.
So driver's side, let's see here, you got a generator that sits on that side, a portable generator that sits on that side that we can use to power either extra scene lights, sawzalls, whatever you might need electricity for. I mean, that's what it's there for. You pull it out of the truck, start it up, which I wonder how long that's been since it's been ran. Probably too long.
Hopefully somebody's been doing their truck checks.
Hopefully. So next compartment back, we got a chainsaw on there for cutting down trees.
It's pretty much all in that compartment.
Yeah, chainsaw, bar oil, extra chains, stuff like that. That's kind of that compartment. Next one back, we have
Cribbing.
Basket of cribbing. We have rope. We have an oxyacetylene torch, high vis vest, some plywood in there, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of a miscellaneous cabinet, but it's got a chain in there. That's more of kind of the car wreck side of things.
Mm-hmm.
If you go around to the back compartment and open up that door, we got our rams set up there. We have our extra set of jaws there, extra set of cutters, the hoses to go with them.
Tarps.
That's
pretty much what's back there.
That's what's back there. Round to the passenger side, rear compartment, airbags, bottle jack, more plywood, like little squares of plywood. I'm sure there's probably more in that compartment, but I can't think of it right now.
That's the main stuff that we use
That's
out
the
of
main
it.
stuff. So that's kind of another car wreck compartment.
The next one is going to be 3 of our air packs and an extra bottle and masks.
Yep. Our next compartment up was going to be it is our cascade system.
I thought there was another little one before that. I don't know what's in it, but
I don't think so. There's only 3 compartments on each side.
There's a tall, skinny one.
Oh, there is a tall, skinny one. That's what stores our power unit for our jaws.
Okay.
And the extra hydraulic hoses.
Okay.
That's what's in there.
For some reason, I thought the generator on the side was the thing for the jaws.
Nope, that's just a regular generator.
Because you missed the big door on the other side then too. So, but it doesn't matter.
The pump panel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pump panel.
So,
yeah, and then our cascade system.
Yeah. So if you go up to the next door, then we have our cascade system there. It's got our bolt cutters, cable cutters, 2 extra air tanks, and sledgehammer. It's almost a miscellaneous cabinet too.
Yeah, it basically is. So, do we need to explain what a cascade system is for people who don't know? I mean, I feel like
Can you explain a cascade system?
I hope. Hopefully I can.
Go
So
for
a
it.
cascade system is a mobile version of a way to fill your air packs on scene, basically. So at the station you might have an air compressor, and even on scene some people have the fancy compressors to be able to do it on scene. We don't. We have this cascade system full of bottles. So we have 3 bottles, and you're able to use the bottles in a sequential order to fill up your air packs while you're on scene with air. So it's kind of a little tricky process to learn the first time and to remember, but once you learn it, it's pretty easy. But it's an easy way to fill up your air packs on scene. So that goes out on a lot of our house fire calls, whether it's in town or out of town.
Right. Yep.
So, is that a good way of explaining it?
Yep, that's a very good way of explaining it. So, then if you go up to the top, we got a Stokes basket, some hard suction, so we can do drafting with it.
All of our tools for like wildfire stuff, so like shovels and pitchforks and stuff,
And then we have a whole bunch of cribbing on top.
yeah,
So,
a whole bunch.
And there is one pre-connect up there that doesn't get used very often, but it is up there. So,
How many times have I checked the truck? Does it have it on the list?
probably not. I don't know.
Where's it at?
Right above the pump panel. Right above the cascade.
Okay.
So, it does have one of those on there, but it never gets used, so.
Okay, so that's kind of our all-around truck. Like,
Yeah.
it gets used for a whole bunch of different things.
It's kind of
And
all
I
our-
really don't know why, but it just happens to, like, get used for a whole bunch of different
Yeah, I
stuff.
think it goes to so much different stuff, but I think it also goes to so much different stuff because all our tools are on it.
Yeah.
It's weird. But it was kind of the catch-all for our trucks.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, the truck that it replaced had a whole bunch of that random stuff on it, too.
That's true.
Because 30 had a whole bunch of random crap in it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is our grass rig / rescue truck. Next is 26.
Yes, so 26 is our mainline rural pumper truck. So that is a 1997. Did you say everything about the 32, like with the
Yep.
pump and the gallon tank?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 26 is a 1997 International 4900. It has a 1250 GPM pump and 750 gallon tank on that. That is our first out for rural pumper stuff for any rural structures. We tend to take that out sometimes for grass fires too, especially for mutual aid. We take that one out a lot. It's good to be able to tank water to those grass rigs. And then it is our first due for Parex as well.
Yep.
So
26, it's got 3 SCBA packs in the back seat where your firefighters sit, and one for the officer as well. Our TIC is inside there along with flashlight. No, there's no flashlights in that one. So just our TIC inside the cap on that one.
yeah.
Let's see here. Down the driver's side, our first compartment has all the hose adapters on it.
Mm-hmm. We didn't do this with the city trucks, of which what's it in
No, we
each
didn't,
one?
but this one's used for a variety of
Yeah.
things. So, we got all your adapters on it for your hoses, 2.5 to 1.5 inch, female, double males, all that kind of stuff. Extra hose on there. There's donut rolls on there.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a donut roll of 5-inch on there. So, which our real truck doesn't have 5-inch on it except for the donut roll.
Yeah.
And it's just a short 25 footer, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's really short.
So, and yeah, there's no hydrants in the roll, so there's no reason to have the big 5-inch on there. So
Why do we have that 5-inch on there? I think, isn't it, like, to me, it feel like it'd be better to, like, hook up 26 to, like, another, maybe, truck that has 5-inch connection, hook up to that truck that can maybe pump better than 26 can? Is that maybe why, or what?
yeah, you can pump to another truck. 25 foot doesn't give you much, but you can hook to a hydrant with it. So if you are coming back into town to get water for some reason, you can hook to a hydrant with 5-inch.
Okay.
Except you need an adapter, so that kind of blows that theory.
Yeah, but you can't hook to a hydrant with 2.5.
Yeah, you can hook to
So-
a hydrant with 2.5, and we got plenty of 2.5
Yeah.
on that truck.
So why the 5-inch? To me, it's truck to truck, maybe.
Yeah, that's about the only thing I can think of.
But, like, you wouldn't necessarily be feeding another truck with 26. You'd usually be pulling in from another truck with 26, right?
5-inch on that truck. Yeah, you'd have to go in.
You can't go out?
Not with 5-inch.
Okay, so the only reason we'd have, like, has anyone ever actually thought about this? Like, would they ever set up a scenario, this doesn't have to go on, but would they ever set up a scenario with 26 getting fed straight from another truck first and not just out of a drop tank? I mean, it's got the hard section on there. Why wouldn't you just drop in the drop tank and have the other one? The only reason I could see is maybe 90, or when we used to have 63, being able to drop all that 5-inch and then hook up with that 25-foot extra straight to 26. That's the only scenario I can see that working in. Otherwise,
well, you gotta remember, it does get pulled out for city fires too sometimes.
Barely.
It doesn't get used a lot, but that's the only other thing I can think of is it does get pulled out every once in a while for a city fire.
Okay.
So it does give you the capability to hook a hydrant.
If you have an adapter.
If you have the adapter.
But you don't have the adapter on that. You do.
Is there one on there?
We got several 5-inch adapters on there. Because it's what's the...
Hydrant's 4.5.
There is one. I think there is one, actually.
There's a 4.5
I think,
sorts.
I don't know for sure, but I think there might be.
Well, if so, that'd be your reasoning right there, then.
I know there's at least a 4-inch thread. Or is there even a 4-inch thread? Is that even a thing?
I think it's 4.5.
Oh.
So
maybe not. I don't know. There might be an adapter on there.
There might be a reasoning for it then.
So sorry, you guys. A little tangent. I wanted to talk through it while I'm thinking about it. So
that's right.
Hey, I've actually been on the department for a while now. I'm actually understanding things and learning things and talking through things. This is a big step for me.
You're right.
So.
All right. So we were on the first compartment.
Yeah, we were on the first compartment. So second compartment.
We have auto cribbing and struts, and we have 3 rope bags on there. So that's kind of car wreck / rescue.
Yeah.
Next compartment back is mainly tools.
A lot of
toolboxes, wrenches and stuff like that, screwdrivers.
We have some extra SCBA bottles. That's where we keep the fire extinguishers and stuff.
Yeah, the cones, the water can, the fire extinguisher.
That's all in that one.
Back there.
The back is the extrication stuff, so our jaws and things and tarp and like Sawzall and like everything.
Yeah, our power unit for the jaws.
Window cutter.
Our portable monitor sits back there, positive pressure fan, and our floatable pump.
Yep, so that's kind of a combination from being the back / to the right side to the passenger side door. Because I think the floatable pump actually comes out the passenger side door easier. So all these back 3 doors, the back driver's side, back side, and the back passenger side, all kind of open up to the same area. It's just what you can get to. So the bottom area you can get to from all 3 sides. The top area is what's separated.
Yep. So the jaws that we have on there, the power unit, all that kind of stuff, that's what makes it the first due, because there are normal set of tools that we use. They're the better set of tools. So I think that's why we take that truck to CarX first, because it just houses our better tools on it, and it's always been set up that way.
Yeah.
So what we've always been taught. So yeah, next compartment over, like I was saying, the floatable pump for pumping out of ponds or lakes or rivers or whatever we need to do.
More bottles for SCBAs. This is where a lot of our hand tools are. So a lot of the Halligans, the New York hooks, you have pike poles, small pike poles, pry bars, sledgehammers,
all that kind of stuff.
All of the hand tools are kind of in this compartment there.
Yep. Next one forward. Chainsaw. Extra bar for it, chains, that sort of stuff. Oil, gas. Next compartment forward houses the onboard generator, which the truck has floodlights on it and stuff, so we can utilize that very quickly. And not only that, we can plug into it and power other things as well.
Yeah.
So. All
around, that's that truck. This is more of an open style cab compared to the rest of our trucks, but not as open as 134 is.
And then our last rule truck.
Our last rule truck is our tanker, which is number 282. It is a 1997 International 4900, and it has a 2,000-gallon tank on it. And it actually has a pump on it that it can pump through to the grass rigs instead of just dropping it, too. So
Yeah.
it's got quick dumps on it, but...
Yep, so we can dump either... Oh, I forgot I covered the top of 26. We can either go into a drop tank with 282 and set up a drop tank situation out in the rural, either for grass rigs to fill out of, or if we're at a rural structure fire, we put a drop tank down, a pumper drops straight out of that drop tank. So that's kind of that truck. There's really nothing special about it.
You have a drop tank on... Did you say that already? Sorry.
Yep, we got the drop tank on there.
Yeah, nothing too special. It's a tanker.
Yep, it just moves water around. So, yeah, nothing special there. I'm going to back up real quick because the top of 26 does have a skid load on there of hose, and it has another portable tank on there. And 2.5 hose lays up there as well.
So I know we went into 2 of those trucks pretty deep, unlike the rest of them, but those 2 trucks get used for a lot of different things, not just the basic what you think it get used for. So
yeah,
we thought that was kind of important to touch on those.
So yeah, and with the conversation that we'll have real briefly here at the end,
those 2 trucks come into play.
Yeah,
quite
those
a
2
bit.
trucks come into play. So, so those are our trucks. Those are how we are set up, and hopefully that kind of makes sense to you. It gives you a good idea of what we got and kind of what we're running around with anyway. So, with this next conversation that we're going to bring up, the point of the conversation here is, even if your department has been doing something for the last 10 years, and I know that's how the fire service is, we've always done it this way, don't be afraid to move things around with permission, granted. Move things around to different trucks to utilize your trucks better, to be more efficient and to just make things run smoother. So we're going to do our best here to
almost recreate.
Kind of go through this conversation that we had just the other night. And this was actually with one of our officers. He happened to come in while we were hanging out here the other night, and we got talking about it. So, and it was a really good conversation. And I, like I said, we wish we would have had it recorded because you could really see the progression of the conversation, how we got from one point and developed it, and by the end we figured out a solution for it. But who knows if that'll take effect or not. But
I doubt it, but it's still nice to talk about it, or to talk about how it all happened or what we came up with.
Basically, we got this started because we were talking about how the first thing on a car wreck is you should
Chock the wheels.
Chock the wheels.
So we were talking about the first things you're supposed to do in the first 5 minutes on a car wreck, and we determined the absolute first thing you're supposed to do is to chock the wheels somehow. Well, we got thinking there is 0 cribbing on 26, which is our frontline car wreck truck. So it just got me thinking, well, why are we taking this if we can't chock a truck right away? You know, if we don't have everything on it for it. You know, so we're trying to think of other ways we could chock a truck with the tools we had on the truck. But it's like, okay, why don't we stick some cribbing on there? You know, what's going on here? You know, like, and then we actually started figuring out some of the things with it.
Yeah, so like you're saying, the first thing we need to do, or should be doing, would be chalking wheels.
Yeah.
Stabilizing the scene. Next would be actually stabilizing the vehicle. Most car wrecks we go to, how many vehicles are up on their sides or up on their rows?
0.
Like that. What do we have in 26 to stabilize just a car on the ground or lift a car up a little bit?
0. Like,
we don't have any cribbing on that truck.
We have no cribbing on that truck. We have the struts and the quick crib, the auto crib. Who honestly knows how to use that auto crib? Almost nobody. I don't.
I do. They're easy.
I don't understand how they work. They pop up. Awesome.
I'll have to show you sometime.
The only time I've ever seen them out was when we first got them.
Yeah.
We've never had them out of the trucks otherwise. They've never gotten used.
They're really simple. Yeah, they never get used, don't get me wrong.
But they never
really
get practice
simple.
on.
Well, I know. Don't get mad at me. I'm not a training
I'm
officer.
just saying. Like, So we have nothing on that to officially stabilize trucks or cars with.
Basically, the only thing we're going to a car wreck with that truck is manpower, because we can get 5 people on it. We have water if there's a fire.
Yep.
And we have jaws if we need to extricate someone.
Yep, and it's not that super important. We have the windshield cover on there, or cutter on there.
Other than that, air packs, if you got the fire again.
If you have the fire.
And...
But most of the time, when we get called out to a car wreck, it's not a car fire. We'll get called out to a car fire. It's a legitimate car wreck, and that's it. Usually, they're pretty good about differentiating between a car fire and a car wreck.
Right, yeah.
So, we know what we're going to most of the time.
But either way, those are the resources you're bringing. Manpower, jaws.
Air packs.
Water. And, water. So, you got 4 things. So, our second new truck is 32.
Yeah.
Which... First off, 32 has our only set of rams in it. So if we need to do a dash lift, we have to wait for that truck to show up. I think you can do it with jaws. It just doesn't work as well. I don't know much about extrication, so I'm not going to speak on that behalf. But our only set of jaws is in 32.
Oh, set of jaws?
Rams, sorry, is in 32. We have water on 32. We have air packs on 32. All our cribbing is on 32, including our step blocks, which we would use for chalking tires.
Yep. Airbags,
because we don't have any airbags on 26.
Our Sawzall is on 26.
Okay, our Sawzall's on 26.
We have some more hand tools on 26 that we don't have on 32 because we don't have a Halligan on 32.
No.
We don't.
We still got bolt cutters. We still got cable cutters on 32.
I don't know if we have an axe on 32.
Yeah, there's an axe.
There is?
Yep.
Okay.
So, what else would you need at a car wreck?
That's the basics.
Yeah. So, we have 6, 7 things resource-wise on 32 where 26 is only bringing about 4 things.
Yes.
So,
and the 4 things aren't necessarily tools either. It's
right,
manpower, it's water. Some of them are crossed.
Right, there's a lot of overlap there. And through this conversation that we were having with this officer, I was starting to realize the only thing that I really felt uncomfortable, because we were talking about making 32 the first unit out for cars.
Yeah, because I'm just like, why don't we take 32 out? Because if the first thing we have to do, the absolute first thing that we've determined, specifically you and I, to do on a scene is to chalk the tires. We don't have the cribbing to do that on 26. Why aren't we taking 32? Didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. And I was thinking about it as an officer's point of view. And the only reason I don't like that thought is because you're only bringing 2 people, 3 maybe, if you can really fit them in the cab, to a scene.
Yeah.
That was your first truck. You can do a lot with 3 people, don't get me wrong. Crews do it all the time. I'm not saying you can't do it, but...
For a volunteer department.
For our volunteer department.
And a volunteer department that runs not that many calls. It's different.
It is different. You're absolutely right. And so that was my concern. Is like, well, we don't have the manpower. I'm not comfortable with 3 people being there, and especially if you're out in the rural, it might be, hopefully not, but it might be 10 minutes before your next truck shows up, depending on who's coming that day.
And that's when I told you, it's like, well, if you have enough people to take 26, that's 5 people. So if you're taking 32, let's say you can stick 2 to 3 people in there. If you only have 2 to 3 people other than that left at the station, have them jump in the grass rig of 20. The number 27 holds 2 people for the grass rig. Take that out there just for hauling manpower. Or my other solution was to take 54 with those 5 people for manpower and take it out there. And then you brought to my attention, well, why not, if you had the 5 people or even a few people take 26, just take 26 out there for manpower. I don't think that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, you have that, if you have the people there anyways. Because even if if you're worried that no one's going to show up, well, if you're only sticking 2 people on 32 and you're worried no one else is going to show up, 2 people running 26 is the same problem.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
So you're expecting more people than 2 people to actually show up. So you have enough people to drive another truck, whether it be 27, which holds 2, which is a grass rig, 54, which holds 5, which is a grass rig, or 26 that holds 5, which is a grass rig. And between 54 and 26, if you have 5, you're probably going to be taking 26 because that has your backup set of jaws and everything on it, and a lot of your other things with the big water supply and air packs and whatnot. So.
Yeah. So, and I'm still kind of not really trying, but like 26 because it has scene lights on it. If it's a car wreck at night, you're gonna want scene lights. So you want to bring that.
And it's got that big other extra light on it on one of the sides.
Yeah, that big Pelican light and stuff. So there's different resources in there yet you can still use, but that was my biggest concern was I don't necessarily like the idea of only having 3 people there on your first truck. And granted, there's probably most likely more people coming that can bring 26 or, something like that. But that was my big concern with this whole conversation that we had. Was, okay, I like the idea, but I don't like the manpower issue.
Yeah, but especially for us in our district, the way that we operate, a car wreck, even if it's in the middle of the night, our first 2 trucks are going to go out very similar time from each other. They're going to get out quick. Other trucks after that might take a while, but the first 2 trucks are going to get out quick. So why not take 32 as your first truck since it's got most of the stuff on it that you want to use? First of all, move the main extrication equipment to 32. Switch them around. So the backup stuff's on 26, personally. Take 32 first. So that's on scene first. Then you're going to have enough people to run 26 there at the station 99% of the time. I'm going to say, okay, let's say 95% of the time you're going to have enough people there to run the truck. To get it out there. Then take that next. It's, to me, it almost seems like a no-brainer. Why don't we do it that way? But I think it's another thing I think it's a lot of what people just don't realize that's the way we've been doing it.
Yeah, there's a lot of thought processes. This is the way we were taught. This is the way we've always done it. No one really questions it.
Well, in the last 5 years, how many of our cars have been out of town? Not many.
Not many. Most of them have been in town. If not, they're right on the edge of town.
So we're taking rural trucks to these out-of-town calls, which for the department we're allowed to utilize the trucks as far as I understand, as we see fit. I haven't been told any differently. So if it is different, somebody needs to educate us because seriously.
Yeah.
So why don't we move one of those sets of jaws and extrication equipment over to 134? We have space on our main pumper, which is 134.
Getting at here, because while you guys were having this conversation, I was staying pretty silent for the most part, and
I still think that's a good idea if they want to keep everything on rural trucks.
Right. Yeah.
We'll start with that.
With the manpower issue, that was kind of where I was coming from. My solution was, yes, we have all this extra room on 134. It's so much bigger of a truck than what
we're used to. The truck that it replaced, all this stuff. It holds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. 6 people.
So you can put 6 people on it. We have plenty of room for all the equipment that we can move over either from 32 or 26 and make more room on those trucks for other resources. And it's got a bumper line on it, which I don't have the experience, but I hear bumper lines are really good for car wrecks. People really like using them for car wrecks. So it's got the bumper line capability on there. It's got the air packs, the tools. I mean, basically everything you need for a car wreck you could put on that truck, including a little bit of cribbing. You wouldn't be able to put the big stuff on that we have on 32.
But you could put a little bit of everything on to get it enough what you need.
Yeah, and it sits right by a front door already, so it's already a mainline truck.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to move an ambulance to get the truck out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess that's where my brain went as a solution, is instead of using the same 2 trucks that we've always used for vehicle wrecks, let's use a completely different truck that we have tons of room on, and we'll haul more, the manpower that we need to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can still send another truck out as manpower needed, but it also took out the equation of, okay, if you move 32 out of, into the first truck out, you have to move an ambulance, it's reduced time. Not a whole lot in our case, but it's still reduced time, where this one's already set up for frontline. We have the extra room on the truck, and we can make more room on the other trucks for other equipment.
Yeah, but I think with the reduced time, I think I kind of brought down that whole theory of that, because if you have two people running 32, you have this person that's going to go in the captain's seat, have them go and move the ambulance while the other person's moving 32 out. Once they move the ambulance across the street and park it, just have that officer jump into the 32 and go. It doesn't take that much time to move it.
Right, and I'm just,
so...
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you.
I'm explaining it for them, too.
Yeah.
But, so these are things like we hashed out. And so, like, we kind of both had solutions, whether keeping it on the rural trucks and the same trucks that they've always been using, or moving it over, at least part of it over, to a city truck, especially since a lot of our stuff's in the city. Well, we don't know for sure. There's been a little bit of talk around maybe, and like I said, we don't know that maybe the jaws were purchased by the rural and it can't go on a city truck, but to me that doesn't make any sense, because we switch stuff around trucks as we want from everything I've seen here.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like we have that. What's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't seem like we have that restriction. So I don't know if I quite believe that, but I don't know for a fact. But it's also an issue, and I know a lot of departments have this issue of communication, but it's something that most people don't think we need to know.
Yeah.
As firefighters. They think maybe the officers need to know, or the chiefs and stuff like that, but not necessarily the firefighters. So it's something we don't know. So we might be thinking we have a great idea, but maybe there is an agreement where we shouldn't be putting these on city trucks.
Yeah.
But how, I don't know.
Yeah. So I guess what we're trying to get across, we want to relay to you guys that conversation that was had and how we got from one problem to one or two solutions for it. And then from here, I guess it just kind of gets brought up with chiefs and see if we can actually do it, or if there's more problems to it than what we see. But
yeah, but definitely figuring out why. Why is it done like this?
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask that question of why, because a lot of times, well, we've done it just because we've done it this way for so long that's what we do. Well, oftentimes there's better solutions, so.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to change a whole lot. Maybe it is just moving a set of jaws from one truck to another truck and you got it set. Who knows? But don't be afraid to question those and ask why, because oftentimes there is a better solution.
And your chief officer should not be afraid to give you an answer to your why. I feel like that's something that's coming up a lot, and I heard it in another podcast, in another podcast I was listening to today, the whole wanting the reason why. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, and that's something that's changed in recent years, because I think I heard that. Maybe we listened to the same podcast, because I was listening one day that kind of brought up the same thing. It's like,
I was listening to Dave's with Sean Duffy.
Yep.
Oh, you listened to the same one today?
I listened to the same one today.
Oh, hey, look at that!
So, the newer generation naturally wants to know why.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and
we're trying to help.
we want to come up with solutions. And where the older generation was follow orders and don't question it,
Exactly.
And
if you give us a good reason why, we're gonna be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't if you're not prepared for a reason why, like, I don't know.
And if you don't know, say you don't know, but try to find an answer for them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as someone just in the fire department, as a firefighter, if you have the years on and you feel like you have the right to say something about it, by all means, ask why and offer the solution to it and present your facts for it, and hopefully either things can change for the better, or at least there's some light shed on the situation anyway.
Yeah, and if you guys remember from the first podcast that we put out, it's been a little while ago now, but I like puzzles. That's kind of part of who I am, and this here, especially with this particular problem we went over, it's a big puzzle. And I love it, and I want to figure out an answer for it, and I want a solution for it. So
yeah,
that's stuff that I kind of get drawn into. So when we had this actual conversation, I may have gotten a little heated during it just because I was so passionate and I wanted to figure out the puzzle. So I think Chris was about to, like, I don't know, tell me to cool down or something from it, but...
No, I kept my cool. I don't offer my side of it till I have a solution for it.
Yeah. And I just honestly sometimes yabber on until I have a solution I like and I keep talking. So
yeah,
that's how I work through problems. I talk it out, and if I change my mind while I'm talking, that's okay, as long as what I end up with is what I want.
Yeah. I'm the one that's going to sit and listen to the argument happen and then go, okay, did you think about this, or did you think about this, or how about this for a solution? So I'm much more quiet and reserved, and
I can't get my thoughts out.
I'm going to analyze before
my thoughts actually have to get worded before I completely comprehend everything and what's going on, so...
And if it helps, get some guys behind you. Talk to some other firefighters and ask them, and maybe they know. Maybe you don't have to go to the chief. Maybe they know why you do things that way.
Yeah.
And if they don't, talk it out with them. And if they think it's a good idea, now there's two of you. I'm not saying uproot your department and throw it through your window and start over, but...
don't do that, please don't.
By all means, just don't be afraid to offer a solution to something you see as a problem. Yeah. Or that could be better. If you have a good officer above you, then they should be open to that and either have a reason why or something for you anyway. So anyway, hope you guys got something out of this. Hope you guys got a little more light into our department here and shed some light on
Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
You can't even say it either.
I can't even say it either.
Hopefully you guys got some light into our department, kind of how we operate, what we got for trucks, and hopefully we kind of give you a way to go through a conversation and maybe make some positive changes in your department. So
yeah, thank you guys for joining us.
Yep, thank you guys for joining us, and thank you guys for keep on listening to us. So we appreciate it.
All right, see ya.
Have a good night. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you enjoyed it.
Be sure to leave us a rating and review wherever you're listening to us.
Find us on Facebook and Instagram @CouplingsFire Podcast.
See you next time.